Welcome in. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe, leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. They look like Marv in that opening image there. I'm Johnny Venerable. He's Bo Brack in the studio. Circle K, baby. Become a diehard. Nice. Go PHNX.com. Damon, Dawg behind the mic. How we living, Bo?
We're living great. I mean, you're coming in aggressive. You're coming in wrong. No, you don't look like Marv, but also with facts. The Circle K studio. We love Circle K. Right now, through September 3rd, you can go to America's Thirst Shop and save big while you're getting yourself a little Polar Pop or Froster for just 79 cents. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm thirsty for Circle K. Is that fair to admit on this program?
Yeah.
I got a thirst going for Circle K. I got a thirst going for some likes on this video, some subscriptions. Subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. Banner show today. Rookie cornerback out of Miami, 7th round pick. Jaden Davis is going to join the program in a little bit. Got a chance to catch up with the standout Miami Hurricane about JG, his defensive scheme, and some of the key matchups he's had so far at minicamp and what it's like to be covering Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm fired up to talk about Jaden, but some breaking news before the show, Bo, that you pointed out.
Arnie alert.
Trevor Lawrence got paid by the Jacksonville Jaguars in one of the most unceremonious contract extensions of the offseason, maybe. I mean, just tucking that away on a Thursday in June. You do you, Jaguars, but he's making upwards of $55 million per year, which greatly eclipses Kyler Murray's contract extension from 2 years ago. And I think that's where we start the show today, Bo. What will age better, K1's deal or Trevor Lawrence?
I mean, I think that's a simple Kyler Murray, isn't it? I mean, Kyler Murray, I think what the Jaguars did was necessary. Obviously, when you got a guy that you believe is your franchise quarterback, you got to pay him franchise quarterback money. And Trevor Lawrence was next in line. But then you see him, and we saw this with Kyler, where, Kyler is coming off the playoff performance against the Los Angeles Rams, and us close to the situation can, see the nuance in that Kyler Murray also was deserving of that because of where he was in his rookie deal. And he was next up in the line at that time for an extension, and what he put on display earlier that season that he could tap in and play at an MVP caliber clip, where I think, Trevor Lawrence still has a lot to show, not only the Jacksonville Jaguars, the AFC South and the NFL, that when you are in kind of line for that payday, like your franchise is kind of stuck by picking up the tab on that. And when you look at it right now, how large the number is where he's going to make $55 million, and it makes you kind of you're taken back by it. He's making $55 million per year, just like Joe Burrow, who's been to a Super Bowl. I can see why people are skeptical and they see the hesitation or would want to be more hesitant. But I mean, this is the price of doing business in the NFL.
Well, and what's the alternative? You're the Atlanta Falcons and you're overdrafting an injured Michael Penix and you're overpaying Kirk Cousins. You want to live that life.
You're already in NFL purgatory in Jacksonville. You don't want to continue your stay there by restarting your search for your franchise quarterback. I mean, that's what you would be staring down.
And for those that scoff at the idea that Kyler Murray is better than Trevor Lawrence, you don't know ball. I'm just going to respectfully say that. Kyler Murray's best statistical season is far better than Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence plays, let's just call it in the mediocre, if not the worst division in the NFL, in the AFC South. Before Houston's return to prominence this year, the AFC South was easily the worst division in the NFL. Whereas Kyler Murray plays with, after Pete Carroll left, 3 Hall of Fame potential head coaches in Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, and Pete Carroll. That's what Kyler Murray's had to endure in Arizona, going up against those guys with a college head coach. Trevor Lawrence at least has, a Super Bowl winning head coach in Doug Peterson. And if you want to sit there, Jaguar fans or, Trevor Lawrence truthers, and say, well, Trevor Lawrence won a playoff game. Trevor Lawrence won a playoff game against what I believe unequivocally was the worst coach in the NFL in Brandon Staley. Whereas Kyler Murray lost a playoff game, his lone playoff appearance, to what many believe is the second best coach in the NFL behind Andy Reid and Sean McVay en route to that Rams team winning the Super Bowl. Like, it is not comparable. Kyler Murray in the AFC South during Trevor Lawrence time wins the AFC South maybe multiple times, hosts multiple playoff games. Like, it's not all equal here. Like, Dak Prescott once upon a time was a fourth rounder that inherited a loaded team in Zeke and rode the run game to the postseason. Congratulations. Like, Kyler Murray took an offense that was statistically one of, if not the worst offense in modern NFL history, got them back to respectability. They're 500 the next year. The next year they make the playoffs. Like, I like Trevor Lawrence. I think it's the right move.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray is easily, and we said this at the time, we did an emergency podcast 2 years ago when Kyler Murray signed his deal and people freaked out. It will only age better. And as you told me before the show, Bo, there are multiple guys are on deck to get additional extensions.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray could be knocked out of the top 10 here pretty soon.
Yeah, award-winning producer Damon, Dawg. Can we see the list and where Kyler Murray falls now and just annual salary per year? Joe Burrow up at the top along with Trevor Lawrence at $55 million. Jared Goff, who just got extended earlier this offseason at $53 million. Justin Herbert at $52.5 million. That's fourth. Lamar Jackson at $52 million. Jalen Hurts at $51 million. And then down here at seventh is Kyler Murray at $46.1 million per season. Just average salary on that $230.5 million extension that kicks in this year. Deshaun Watson at $46 million, and Deshaun Watson has the most guaranteed money of all these because every dollar of his $230 million extension is guaranteed. And then on the bottom here, next up, some names to kind of keep tabs on the rest of the NFL offseason as it's kind of on hiatus. Jordan Love with the Green Bay Packers, Tua with the Miami Dolphins, and Dak with the Dallas Cowboys. Kyler Murray could very well, by the start of the 2024 season, be 10th in average annual salary with the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, this Kyler Murray, to me, give me him over a large majority of these players listed. Like, I feel like Kyler Murray over Dak, Tua, Jordan Love is a no-brainer. Deshaun Watson, that's going to be a disaster. Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray beat Jalen Hurts head-to-head last year with a far less superior team, talent-wise. Like, again, Kyler Murray at $46 million in a salary cap that is going to continue to explode. Like, do you know, Bo or Damon, what was the salary cap this past year? Like, the total figure.
Was it 230?
Yeah, I was going to say like 230, 240. If I go to overthecap.com and I go to the salary cap total
220, I thought.
Yeah,
actually.
Right around there. So you're paying the guy that carries this franchise at times, I don't know, I'm not a mathematician, like 20% of that or 25%, not even. I mean, it's just, that's a steal for Kyler Murray.
Well,
if Kyler Murray has the kind of year we expect him to have,
now it's 255. And, you know, Kyler Murray, this is going to be the largest chunk he's going to absorb the salary cap, where it's going to be, you know, just about 20%, but it's only going to shrink. I mean, the cap's going to go up. It went up an unprecedented $30 million this offseason from last year, from $224 million to $255 million. And it's going to continue to go up significantly because there's going to be new TV deals, more money infused into the league. And Kyler Murray is going to make, probably by the end of his deal, I would say Kyler's making about 16% of the cap. And I think
that's fair.
That's what you want for your franchise quarterback.
The Cardinals aren't
you're
paying
taking you're taking a guy on a 1 or 2 year flyer and hoping that he works out. But if you have a guy that's entrenched as your leader, like Kyler Murray is, I mean, you're set up pretty well going forward. And that's why, you know, when you look at the market and the price, and you know, you kind of get shocked by the sticker price of it. But you have to take in all these variables about, one, the price of paying a quarterback, two, that the cap is going to go up inevitably, and like three, I mean, as far as that, the percentage of cap that it's going to take up if you do it right is going to only go down as that contract ages, and quarterbacks are going to get ahead of you on that list. And you're seeing that, you know, I think that there's far, you know, more like, I guess, less bigger bets that are being made, like bigger long shots as far as whether that money is money well spent. I know with Trevor Lawrence, like you and I say, you got to do it, right? If you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, but if you're looking at Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys, I mean, at some point, Dallas has to ask themselves, like, do they pull what the Minnesota Vikings did?
Doesn't it feel like that's where that's headed?
Right. I mean, and you have to, thank your lucky stars that that's not what Kyler Murray's, done to this franchise. Now, we got a lot more to learn about him in the Jonathan Gannon regime and under this new infrastructure that he's playing in. But like, I think you can pretty well say that, Dak and along with Kirk Cousins as well, they struggled in the big moments. Like they statistically, you can make the case for them, say, hey, look at their resume. It's impressive, and you need a quarterback. But there is a definitive ceiling there for those guys. And, I think Kyler Murray's got that extra gear that can save him from being lumped in with quarterbacks like that.
I totally agree. And I can't wait. Like Rick in the chat points it out. Don't forget about Brock Purdy. Like Brock, please, Kyle Shanahan, give Brock Purdy $60 million per year. Like there's already talk that they're going to have to part ways with Debo and or Ayuk. And so that's going to become Brock Purdy's team. Like this is Kyler Murray's team. The difference is Kyler Murray has the talent to elevate. Brock Purdy, frankly, has to be elevated. That's the most loaded team in the NFL.
Right. How many games does Brock Purdy win down the stretch with this Cardinals roster last season?
One, maybe. If that. I mean, I'm sorry, just being transparent. Like Kyler Murray's contract might get revisited in a couple of years if he plays well. And I think he'll have earned it, clearly. Like if they go on a tear for 2 years and he gets them to the postseason back-to-back, they'll revisit that. Of course they will. And they should. Just like the Detroit Lions in the Stafford trade inherited Jared Goff's contract. Just like Ossenford and Gannon inherited Kyler Murray's contract. And what happened? Goff proved to everybody over the course of 3 seasons, like, I'm the guy still. Like Kyler Murray, we hope has an opportunity to do and will do. And they revisited his contract. That's why he's getting $53 million a year. So this is the prime time for the Cardinals to achieve roster balance with his contract because they're not paying anybody, right? Like the Jaguars have the highest cap hit on the team this year. Christian Kirk's making like $24 million with no state tax in Jacksonville. That's good. That's good living if you can get it. The Cardinals are paying nobody. They're paying Buda Baker as their highest paid player who's off the books this year. D-Hop's off the books, right? Their best players that we're going to talk about, these breakout players, are all on their rookie contracts. Right. I mean, like, they had to pay, Justin Jones and some other players, the defensive linemen, they had overpaid a smidge in free agency. But these are marginal deals. The Jonah Williams deal, the defensive line deals of the free agency back in March, 2 years max guaranteed. Nothing that's going to hamper you. I'm going to say it right now. The Cardinals do not have one bad contract on the roster. Now, you couldn't say that this time last year. You're trying to squeeze it out, trying to figure out what you had. But like, even if things don't work out with Zaven Collins, okay, he's off the books after this year. They want to pivot off of him, even though I think try to bring him back at a team-friendly deal that makes sense for everybody. You're not, overpaying somebody like DJ Humphries. Unfortunately for him, they had to part ways with him. They're a little bit of dead money. Like this team, the infrastructure of this team at the premium positions, tackle, defensive line, quarterback, and corner, all super team friendly. Yeah. Oh, your best wide receivers making like no money for 4 years. It's great.
Right. And anybody who's going to foolishly say like Trevor Lawrence you're better off with Trevor Lawrence than Kyler Murray is a non-knower of ball.
They don't know
just straight up. I mean, does Trevor Lawrence look like he was created in a lab to play football? He's a 6'4", strong-armed, athletic specimen. Yes, but has he lived up to the hype? No. That's why you see, Jacksonville Jaguars fans kind of uneasy with this deal. But when you look at it, I mean, Kyler Murray overall, I mean, obviously Kyler's drafted in 2019 and Lawrence is drafted in 2021. And he's got, 15 more games than Lawrence because of the injury that took K1 out for a significant chunk. But like per game, Kyler's 240 passing yards per game, that Lawrence is 235 passing touchdowns per game, takes care of the football incredibly well, where Trevor Lawrence does not. And then you've got the rushing aspect. Like Kyler Murray is way more dynamic on the ground, and what he brings as far as just not just statistically, but game planning wise. Like Trevor Lawrence can't do the things that Kyler Murray can do, despite having a little bit more size to him.
Looking ahead to 2025, not to make this a cap discussion, the Cardinals have almost $100 million in cap space next year again. They have just under 90 for 2025. I mean, no Budda Baker, no James Conner part of that equation. But, I mean, you know who the 5th highest paid player on the Cardinals is in 2025? Take a guess.
It's just Paris Johnson.
Close, Marvin, just because he was slotted right a pick above Paris Johnson Jr. Or I'm sorry, 3 picks above because Paris went 6. Marvin Harrison Jr. makes $8 million next year in 2025. Well spent, in my opinion. He is the 5th highest paid player on the Cardinals. Justin Jones is 4. Jonah Williams is 3. Jalen Thompson is 2. Kyler Murray is 1 for 2025. Pretty good living.
That plays, yeah, you're going to be living great. And I mean, this isn't going to be a team that's going to say, hey, we got $100 million, just go throw it at free agency. No, like, because they know that's going to, cap string them, like handcuff them down the road, right? They want to create a nest egg, I'm sure. And there's a floor and there's money to be spent, right? And they can compete with any of the heavy spenders next offseason if they want. If somebody does, fit the criteria that they're looking for, but they're still going to be primarily a draft and develop team, and they're going to start to position themselves to maybe go back to the negotiating table with Kyler. Get yourself ready for when Paris Johnson Jr. is going to be a franchise left tackle and he needs his extension. And when Marvin Harrison Jr. needs his extension after, probably year 4, like Justin Jefferson this past offseason.
Brian and everybody in the chat rightfully so pointing out $90 million. Some of that's got to go to number 85, Trey McBride, if he doubles down on what he did last year. That's an easy plug and play. Get Trey McBride paid. Keep him in Arizona. Kyler Murray staying in Arizona. Trevor Lawrence staying in Jacksonville. We shall see the continued fallout there. We got some super chats. We want to get to that guy. Angelo, 187, $2. I want Riddle, and Tune fight for QB2 all season. Cardinals securing the veteran backup out of Atlanta for Rondale Moore this offseason. Clayton Tune coming into his sophomore year. The preseason was a tough watch last year for a lot of different reasons. Going to be much more consumable for the Cardinals this year, Bo.
Yeah. I mean, Johnny doesn't like to talk about depth, battles. He just hates it. It's not cool enough for him. It's not sexy enough for him. But I'm with you, that guy, Angelo. I think it's going to be one of the big battles of camp. And, nobody's really separated themselves as of yet from what we could tell during the open portion of practice. Like, is it going to be Desmond Ridder? Is it going to be Clayton Tune? But, I think you got people in that organization that are in both their corners. And it's going to be an interesting battle all the way until the final whistle blows on the preseason.
DD Super Sticker, our friend of the program, $2.99. Thank you so much, DD. We appreciate you, my friend. Keep those super chats coming if you guys are so inclined. DD, if you have a question at any point in the show, just make sure to put it in the live chat. We'll bring it up. Derek, our guy, $5. 3 beers, 3 dogs in the 999 challenge is not a win. Needs to be 1 beer and 1 dog each inning. Back to the lab, Johnny. So first of all, what he's referring to, Derek, for those that don't know, we're doing the 999 challenge. I have come out and said I will not be playing by traditional rules of having to consume a beverage and a hot dog, glizzy, every inning. What I would prefer to do, if people want my total and to continue for 9 innings, is I'm just going to see how many I can drink, how many I can eat. Mm-hmm. First of all, I take offense to 3 and 3. That's going to be an easy bar to clear. I might do that consistently through innings 1 through 3. I'm just going to tell you that right now. But where it's going to get dicey for your boy is 5th, 6th, 7th inning. I'm going to hit a wall at some point, but I'm going to want to continue. I'm not going to want to quit before the 9 innings is over. So I will just be doing a collective total.
Okay.
and it's not going to have an asterisk.
You're playing by your own rules. You're playing by your own rules.
I'm happy with everybody.
I mean, it's, at the end of the day, is it really going to matter if you don't get 9-9-9?
Yeah, because I think, first of all, no one expects me to get 9-9. But if I come on this show the following Monday, because we're going to do it Saturday, June.
Do you want a spot on the podium, and you'll proudly stand up there
with like
he's that meme of the guy
Absolutely.
shaking the champagne.
That's him. He's biting down on his 5th place medal. I mean, and let's be honest, he didn't even finish. I mean, do they give medals for people who don't finish, Damon?
It is not an all or nothing. It's not pass fail.
No, not a sporting event that I wanted to be a part of.
This is not pass fail.
You're gonna finish, 7 beers and 5 dogs, and you're gonna proudly stand up there on a podium.
I think I will get applauded by the chat if I show up. If I eclipse 5 on either side, I feel like I will get a newfound respect from the chat.
If that's what he's saying, hey, that's a good day. I don't even want to do this. That's soft. I saw the Arizona Cardinals rookie class today compete in the United Food Bank in a competition that none of them would have said, hey, if I can just get 5 and 7, when the expectation is 9 and 9 in 9 innings. I mean, you call yourself a competitor with that?
I am. I'm the ultimate competitor. I'm going to tell you what right now. I'm going to turn this back at you. With all this talk that you're doing, you better follow through. You better, if you're sitting there at 8-8 and the competition ends, I don't want you saying to me or anybody else, valid effort by me. I did 8-8.
I don't think those are different levels though, Johnny. I mean, if you get 4 dogs down in a 9-inning game and Bo goes 8 innings and gets 8 dogs, 8 beers.
No. Hang on.
Here's rationale. Here's the difference.
Is a big fat failure too.
Here's the difference. I will go into the post-game press conference, and you can bet your ass we're going to have one for this. And I will admit that I fell short, but I don't expect to do that.
Get back to these super chats. You disgust me, both of you.
Okay, I'll read this one. Damon Frog. Damon, you want to handle this one?
Go ahead. I'm not going to say it.
All right. Damon Frog. Ribbit, thank you for your $1.99 super chat.
We're going to have a whole view.
So now we've got Damon Cat, and we've got Damon Frog, and of course, legendary Damon Dawg.
Hang on. Let's not forget the redheaded stepchild, Schleimenschlag.
Well, the Schleimenschlag has everybody's respect, even Damon's.
Merv, $4.99. Dak and Jordan Love still yet to be extended. Kyler's contract looking better by the day, Bo.
Absolutely. Yes, it does. No Dak, no Jordan Love, no Tua. All those guys are going to be over the $46.1 million on average per year that Kyler's making, regardless of where they come in. I mean, I don't know if you should expect any of them to come in making more than a Burrow or Lawrence or Herbert, but they're going to be close. And they're going to be more than Kyler Murray, and it's just going to push Kyler further and further down the rankings. And I'm almost positive he's going to be right around 8, 9, maybe 10 by the kickoff of the season.
And a lot of people feel like that's where he is in terms of the QB hierarchy. So it's funny how those things work out. Damon Cat, meow, $1.99. Even Damon Cat would finish his steak, Johnny. Now we'll see about that, Damon Cat.
Smushed up into a nice, maybe like a cat food puree.
Yeah, a little puree pate.
Yeah, I can see it happening.
I don't like anything going on in the chat today. Brian, Johnny's post hot dog press conference will rival Cliff's post game interviews where he looked dead and we'll need a day to watch tape. Brian, come on.
I mean, we're all going to look dead after putting our bodies through that, just poisoning ourselves like we will for 9 innings.
Brian, I saw live Cliff Kingsbury on almost all of those press conferences down the stretch of 2021, and you could not see a more defeated man. Just had no answers. And you're right. That's a scary comparison that is eerily accurate of what it's going to be like for your boy.
You mean Step 10 Hens chat here, JV equals participation trophy. How do you feel about that?
I'm happy to be competing, and I'm happy to be invited to compete, even though it was our idea to do this competition. And I love, just like people love the underdog mindset for the Cardinals this year, I love the underdog mindset going into the 9-9-9.
Keep that energy, man.
I think you're a little. Who would be comparable to Bo this year, where it's like all or nothing? We're gonna rock the house. We're gonna take care of business this year. But everybody knows deep down they're a little bit fraudulent. I think you might be the Dallas
every year.
Cowboys.
Yeah,
You guys, you might be the Dallas Cowboys of the 9-9-9.
The Niners just can't, get to an NFC Championship game or a Super Bowl and just not get it done.
Would that make Shane Diefenbach the Kansas City Chiefs then? Probably.
What we're gonna already anoint him?
Crowning Shane.
I feel pretty confident with what I've seen Shane put away that he's going to complete this challenge. I've seen Shane put away massive amounts of food and alcohol in one sitting and be 100% fine. He and I went to a Super Bowl party 2 years ago, and the amount of food he put away was startling. So a couple dogs at Chase Fields, I think he can take care of that.
Ozzy saying Bo reminds me of the Eagles. We think that's a fair comp. If I wish I had like a Dom sitting next to me.
If only you had Big Dom helping you out, all of a sudden the 999 challenge is way simpler.
Mr. Saint Shitbag.
I think Dom probably does his own little 999 challenge on the sidelines each and every week for the Eagles.
His portions are probably very small. $4.99. JV, your sentiment does not refresh the values of the shitbag mafia. We compete to win.
Wow.
So am I now no longer a member of the mafia, the SB mafia? I just feel like, let's not write me off before we start. Let's not say that, listen, that I'm going to embarrass myself. I just want people to become a diehard and go PHNX.com.
Yeah.
Follow along in real time in the Discord and be pleasantly surprised with the kind of effort that they're going to get. I'm not going to come into this competition half-assed, half-hearted. You're going to get everything that I've got, and that's all you can ask for.
My problem is that like that first super chat where Johnny got all offended by him saying that like 3 is not a good number.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to get more than 3. You're not. Well, if you don't do it in 3 innings,
4 or 5.
Hang on.
You got to do it in 3 innings or it's not 3. You can't.
Yes, it is. We've established that I have 9 innings to eat as many hot dogs and drink as many.
We'll keep your tally on the side, but like you're out when you're out.
I'm telling you, Damon, I don't know where he thinks he's going to be too full to keep up the pace, and then he's going to play catch up. It's not possible.
I'm happy to anoint those rules to each of you as well. You think you guys can do it inning for inning? No chance.
I'm happy to come into this chat afterwards and say, hey, I made it to the 5th inning, but I finished 7 dogs. Like I'm willing to say that, but
that's all I'm saying. Why can't I say that?
Because then the challenge stops when you don't do an inning. That's the whole point of the challenge.
Some of these comments here. I love you, chat, but I also know some big time frauds in the chat that are keyboard warriors today coming after your boy. Let's become a diehard. Here's what I'm going to say. Everybody right now, if you're not a diehard, become a diehard. And I will task all of you. This is interactive. This is interactive that day. When we take this on, I want to see you all taking video of you and your loved ones at your home doing the same thing. Thank you, Chase. I can do it. Get some dogs, get some beverages, and go shot for shot, pound for pound with us. And let's see how you finish. Let's see it.
You want people to do the remote 999 challenge with us? Okay.
This is a movement, just like hashtag hold the line for MHJ. Hold the dog. Get a dog down. A couple. Let's call a spade here. A lot of people in the chat slinging rocks at a glass house. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm not sure if that's the phrase. Merv, $1.99. Shane, how do you?
Chiefengok?
Chiefengok.
Yeah.
Nice.
Chief and Gliz. Yeah.
Mr. Saint, $1.99. Bo Brock equals New York Jets of 999. Absolutely, I would love that.
Like Aaron Rodgers, like
Yeah,
a couple
like
plays
first
in.
dog he tries to take down, he needs a Heimlich maneuver, and he's done for the day. Can't even get through the first inning. That'd be great.
Not gonna happen. Our saint continues. JV, let's see this one. You're still a member of the mafia.
Good.
Just understand there could be consequences of repossessing is for your loser sentiments.
I don't have a loser sentiment. I have a sentiment of we're going to do this to completion, but I'm not going to. I think it's ask any 5'6", 160-pound individual to keep pace in a 9-9-9 challenge. Unless that person's a competitive eater, I think that is asking a lot.
There's the qualifier. Illadre 199. Kobayashi's going head to head with Joey Chestnut on Netflix, isn't he? I mean, that's why
he retire.
He's coming back, baby. Nice. Illadre 199. Put some respect on Johnny V's name.
Thank you, Illadre.
You think some of our great listeners on the podcast are like, oh God, they're going on a 999 tangent again?
I'm doing this 999 challenge for the Illadres of the chat, not people who are rooting for me to throw up on myself at Chase Field and be escorted out. Because I know Ozzy saying I won't let you down. You're going to be proud of the results that I get. You're going to be damn proud. I'm damn proud to be part of this podcast, despite my co-host to my right, my producer, who have they pinged up on me today once again.
So Damon, we've got our own, scorebook, right? Yeah, sure. So when he taps out in inning 3 at 3 dogs and 3 beers, but then wants to come at us and say, here are my stats for at the end of the day, and he's like, I've got 7 dogs and 5 beers. It's actually 3 and 3, correct?
That's what I keep coming back to is like, it's going to be hard for me when Johnny starts telling us that he got like 7 dogs down and he quit in the second inning. Yeah. And I'm like, well, you didn't.
I thought we established these rules early on. I thought these were pre-approved, pre-agreed upon, and now you're changing it to try to act superior. I feel so much more confident now. There's no way Bo's getting 9-9 in 9 innings.
I'll tell you what I can't wait for, Bo. The first excuse, number one, because that it really caught me off guard at St. Elmo's in Indianapolis, and then it really snowballed into like 100 excuses.
Yeah.
So I want to hear what that first one is, and then I want to see how we go from there.
I hate this show. This is the worst part of my day.
He's sitting there with the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. He's telling him it's because he's intermittent fasting.
See, the respect I got from JG that day. Fitness bros. I need to work on my financial acumen, not my fitness. And I go to Desert Financial Credit Union to do that. That's because it's the official credit union of the Venerable household, PHNX Sports, and our precious Arizona Cardinals. That's because for more than 84 years, Desert Financial has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union, dedicating to creating exceptional experiences by giving back to the community and providing financial solutions that make lives better. And again, checking account, they got you covered. Savings accounts, yes. Mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment options, and more. I'm telling you right now, best financial decision I've made. Ditched my old credit union, kicked them to the curb and said, Desert Financial Credit Union, I'm ready to level up my financial acumen. Plus, how about this for a bonus? Represent the Red Sea with the Arizona Cardinal Visa debit card. Show your team spirit right now. Open up a free checking account online. Get an Arizona Cardinal Visa debit card for free. Takes a matter of minutes to sign up. Debit cards in the mail just a couple days after the fact. Go to desertfinancial.com/Cardinals, Bo, to get started.
Harmony, I was feeling this too. Fitness glizzy in your mouth as far as the chats go. Victor saying, to be fair, JV has thick skin. Bo couldn't take this type of hate.
Correct.
I disagree.
100%. Thank you. 100%.
That might be fair.
Because Bo
gets
one
pretty
person
sensitive.
going after a steak and as an avatar for Bo, and Bo's asking him to please delete his account. Please rub that for me, please. Can you take care of that for me, please? There's like 7 accounts with Damon and I's face on it. We're Teflon on this show every day. Bo's like,
yeah, but it's all true. It's all true for you. I mean, for me, it's a fabricated story from a a guy that deserved to live in a room
Bo
with
is triggered.
padded walls.
Bo's on eating steak. Big time triggered.
Illegal Pete's. We love our friends over at Illegal Pete's. Anytime I go to Illegal Pete's, I'm eating all of my tacos, my burrito bowls, my salads, the nachos, because they're elite. It's the best place you can go to hang out. Patio beers. I was actually outside last night. People talk about how hot it is in the valley right now. Damon, you and I were talking about this. It's a perfect time for patio beers. Who doesn't like to sit outside? The sun has gone down and you got a nice cold one. And you got delicious food from our friends over at Illegal Pete's. And you have to check in with their sound check deal. You're going to an event, you're going to a concert, you're going to stand up, you're going to a sporting event. Take your ticket stub to Illegal Pete's and they're going to help you out with this penny with your ticket stub, a penny for a drink that night. Check it out. You got to have it with the purchase of an adult entree, but we love our friends over at Illegal Pete's.
I got to say that if you are sitting out on the patio with a nice ice cold Four Peaks beer in your hand at Illegal Pete's, the misters are going, and you think it's too hot, your Arizona card has been revoked, brother. Yeah. I'm sorry, taking it from you.
It's tough. It's a really good time for that. It's always a good time with our friends over at Illegal Pete's because it's your go-to spot for burritos, buddies, and beer.
Love these comments. Now the chat's coming around. Now I'm feeling the chat again. Victor saying, to be fair, JV has thick skin. Bo couldn't take this type of hate. Absolutely. Bo has to be loved. I need to be respected and or feared. And I feel like that's the kind of vibe I get on this show daily. Owen says we attack you because you can take it. Absolutely. It's like, I'm like Kyler Murray, bring it on. I know what I can handle. Edie saying JV is the true champion. Absolutely. Ozzy, JV is going to make us a proud man. I believe in him, even if he can't finish it. Thank you so much. It's great to have the chat back in the fold. Now I can acknowledge you all.
Yeah, they're supporting a guy who's gonna tap out in the first round.
No, I'm not. Maybe we need to give Johnny the kids version of the 999 challenge. 9 chicken nuggets, 9 Capri Suns, in 9 innings. 9 Capri Suns is a lot. That's a lot of juice. I could definitely do it though. I could definitely take that down. Got to be water based for those Capri Suns.
Yeah. Thank you for not acknowledging that person's username. I appreciate that.
That's Bo's on eating steak. Go ahead and take care of that. Talk a little breakout players. Damon, we got those graphics or no?
Yeah, sorry. Give me 1 second. I'll upload.
No problem. We got Illa Dre here, $1.99. Bo gets no respect. Shaking my head. And Bo, we trust.
Thank you.
You feel like you get no respect? I feel like you only get
I feel well respected. I don't agree with the idea that just because there's an overwhelming support and respect for me on this show that I couldn't take a little criticism. Just because I'm coming after this farce of a story that I left a fillet uneaten from just a crazy person in Alex Clancy doesn't mean that, I want that stricken off the record. I think that it's a bit unfair that I can't take a little heat.
I've been taking heat on this podcast since before you were born. I've been taking heat on this podcast before you were in this company. This is part of the gig. You gotta, if you want this life, if you want all this glamorous life, you gotta be able to step into the ring of fire, baby.
Yeah.
You can't sit behind a keyboard and be afraid of taking some arrows. You gotta step right in and make
Who
yourself
exactly are you talking to right now? Who are you talking to?
I'm just speaking into the ether. People always ask me, Johnny, I want a podcast. Johnny, I want to put myself out there. This is what it takes. You're looking at it. This is the face of somebody that knows what it's like to have 430 people in the chat calling him a little boy that he only eats chicken nuggets. No, I'm just kidding. I love all of you.
Yeah. We got Jaden Davis coming up here in a bit too. We're going to talk to the Cardinals 7th round pick, how he's his experience going from the U to pro ranks has been. Those battles and OTAs and rookie minicamp have gone down. So
we love it. We also we're talking about some breakout players today, but Bo, you had an opportunity. How about this? Hanging out with some of our friends like Tip Reiman.
There he is. He's got his name tag on there. It just says Tip. And got himself, we got Trey Benson
funny
next to him with a can of carrots. They were over there at the United Food Bank, the Arizona Cardinals rookie class, the entire rookie class, from each and every one of the 12 draft picks to the 3 undrafted rookie free agents, out there just slinging some cans around and putting them in a good position to give back to the community. Another philanthropic endeavor for the Arizona Cardinals in the community with their first-year players, and it was a fun time. They had a blast. They had a little competition at the end, offense versus defense, as far as putting together bags of food for those in need, and they did not take it lightly. Like, guys, you can see a little sweat on Tip Reiman's forehead there because the guys were working hard. They were running all around the facility and trying to win it for their respective side of the football. But it was a good time. Got to talk to Robert Taylor Demerson. That will be up on the YouTube shortly. Talked to Isaiah Jones as well, the third-round corner out of Boston College. And just the vibes are at an all-time high. And you can really tell just kind of how the rookie class was having a ball out there today.
How big is Tip Reiman?
Big boy, man. I mean, every bit of the 6'5", 271 that he's listed.
Yeah, I saw him listed with the rest of the rookie class. I'm like, please God, I hope he never sees the reaction from when he was drafted from this show, because he would just beat me mercifully if he ever ran into me.
Might have gotten a little cold vibes from Tip, and it might.
Did you feel like he knows that we trashed him on draft day?
That might be, the raging insecurity that's been talked about with me throughout the chat today, or who knows? Maybe he just was so locked in as far as getting the canned goods ready for those in need.
People are loving the tip, holding the tip, huge tip, all the tip puns in the chat. Tip's probably going to be mad too, because I know I didn't put him on my breakout players for 2024 for the Arizona Cardinals. It's tough when you're the third tight end, but maybe next year, who is a breakout player? I think it's easy. Now, we've excluded MHJ from these lists for transparency's purposes because it's not very fair. So we'll go with 3 other players. And this is who I like this year. This is who I think at the end of the year, we're going to be saying studs, stalwarts, building blocks for the Arizona Cardinals. And of course, Michael Wilson leads that list. I think he's going to go over 1,000 yards receiving this year. He plays 15 games this year. Book it. I think he has an opportunity for 8 to 10 touchdowns. He reminds me a lot of Michael Thomas. I think they're going to get it. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase vibes with him and MHJ. He is like, I love these other 2 names on this list. I'll explain why here in a second. He's my favorite player to project to breakout easily. It's going to happen. Second year in Petzine's offense. He looks massive. Number 14 for the Arizona Cardinals. I'm just going to say it right now. 1,100 yards receiving this year from Michael Wilson. One of the best stories in the NFL. Number 2, somebody who looks equally massive during minicamp. Dante Stills, who was an Iron Man for this team last year, who despite no presence of key veterans, quality veterans on the defensive line last year, defensive tackle, dominated at times, couple sacks, a bunch of pressures, held his own, just a tough SOB. Cardinals have not had enough players like this. He is a perfect fit for what Gannon wants to do up front defensively. I think he's got better pass rush moves than people give him credit for. The last pick of the draft for the Cardinals last year is my breakout defensive rookie from a year ago. I think he has a tremendous year and is somebody that we're going to talk about, along with Darius Robinson, of the future of this defensive line. Speaking of the D-line, I think I'm back in on Zaven Collins. I've been in, I've been out, I've been in, I'm back in for good. I think Zaven Collins has I'm going to put a number on it right now. I think he gets to 10 sacks. I think he gets to double-digit sacks. I think they scheme him up. Certainly, he's capable on early downs to play the run. But, I'd put no merit, no stock in the fact that they declined his 5th-year option. That was faults of the prior regime. This is a fresh start. This is year 2. Everybody's improved defensively. They're going to be playing with more leads this year. Zaven Collins is going to find a way to get to 10 sacks this year. And we're going to be talking about, just like Trey McBride, what do we need to pay Zaven Collins to keep him around? They don't like Zaven Collins. They love Zaven Collins. Jonathan Gannon and Zaven Collins are very close. If that's the case, I'm doubling and tripling down with that guy 10 times out of 10.
Yeah, I especially love the I completely agree with Michael Wilson, but the Dante Stills addition to your list, just blowing up a tackling sled earlier this week, just looks unbelievably strong, knows the system really well. he's going to be right there with Justin Jones, Bilal Nichols, Darius Robinson. Like you got to feel a lot more comfortable with that rotation, especially if he can make a jump in going into his second year. Let's take a look at my list. I also have a pass rusher on mine, but it's the second-year player in BJ Ojulari. You call that chalk, but look, if they're going to do anything defensively, if they're going to come out of nowhere and play above what people expect, it's going to be because of the new number 9 on the Arizona Cardinals defense. It's BJ Ojulari getting to the quarterback, bigger, faster, stronger, healthier going into year 2, and he's got a good sense of the system. Sean Murphy-Bunting, I don't think that this guy is getting enough love. He looks like he's in great shape. Obviously, he's got the experience. This is a guy that's, in the Bucs run to the Super Bowl, he was one of their best cover corners. And then he was asked to play a little bit more man last year for the Tennessee Titans in a one-year kind of prove-it deal. But now he's going to go to more of a zone scheme with Jonathan Gannon. And I think that fits kind of his abilities a lot better. I expect Sean Murphy-Bunting to be kind of that veteran presence in the cornerback room and probably the corner that doesn't leave the field at all when you got guys kind of rotating in and out, the younger guys playing different roles. I like Sean Murphy-Bunting to be the Cards' top corner. He was the first free agent addition of the offseason, and the Cards are big on SMB. And then we've got our guy Greg Dortch. I saw you had Mike Wilson on your list, and I didn't want to have the same thing, but I think that Greg Dortch, just when you look at the analytics where he's getting the separation, like an incredible amount of separation, just against people trying to cover him, and then he's going to be playing in the slot, and he's going to benefit from MHJ, Michael Wilson, Trey McBride commanding the attention of the defense. He's going to get lost in the shuffle in a good way. And we know that it's just about getting the ball in his hands, and he can just kind of make people miss and get in the open field. And Greg Dortch, when I talk about breakout, I think you're right with Michael Wilson putting up 1,100 yards. I think, Greg Dortch, when you look at a guy who's never had, big, huge receiving numbers, I think he goes upwards, 600, 700 yards receiving. And I think it's a breakout season for the guy.
Yeah, they'll get him another contract, whether it's in Arizona or somewhere else. Hopefully it's in Arizona. I like that list a lot. Again, Ojulari doesn't have to break out, or excuse me, it's not an option. He needs to break out. And I think he and Zaven Collins, whatever the sack total is, can they stay healthy?
Both break out? We're talking about a completely different defense than when we are right now.
I think. What do you think? Yeah, we're so bullish on the offense. It's where, let's just be frank and respectful, it's where the star power on this team is. QB, wide receiver, tight end, running back. This team is known for their offense, and rightfully so. They put a lot of resources there. Are we sleeping on a defense that has Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rollis at the helm for the second year in the same scheme? I would love to be wrong, because I think the defense is going to have a tough time early in the season because of how many young players are playing. But then again, if you look at the front seven, most of the youth is going to probably continue to be a DB and corner. But Ojulari, Zaven Collins, second year. Zaven's been in the league a handful of years. Dante Stills, second year. They have LJ Collier. They have Justin Jones. Kazir White's back. Chris Barnes is back. Mac Wilson's a veteran. Maybe the front seven's better than we think. It doesn't have household names on it yet, but if you had Ojulari, Zaven Collins, Dante Stills in a group, and two of those three guys broke out and had good years, you're in good shape. I think it's a lot to ask of all three, but if you check two of those boxes, whomever they are, the Cardinals are going to be way ahead of schedule defensively.
When you're looking more specifically just at, if you're zeroing in on week 1 and slowing down Josh Allen, and we know the question marks at wide receiver, what's going to be more important, the ability to rush or the ability to cover? And this is just, I'm just asking. I don't have
I think the ability to rush, because I think what Justin Fields did to this team with his legs last year, Josh Allen can emulate times 10. And I also think there's going to be a learning curve. I'm not scared right now, respectfully, of what the Buffalo Bills are going to trot out wide receiver. I think Andy Isabella plays for the Buffalo Bills. I think he's I'm serious. I think he's part of the receiving core. The receiving core, their number one receiver is Keon Coleman. Right. So I think they have a couple good tight ends, and Josh Allen can move around, certainly with his legs. If you rattle Josh Allen, we've got plenty of time to break down week 1. It's coming closer than you guys think. I think then you're fine. Sean Murphy-Bunting, you would expect can handle Keon Coleman. Garrett Williams in his second year. That's probably the one biggest omission right now is Garrett Williams. I think Garrett Williams probably could have been on my list for Zaven Collins at number 3. I went back and forth on both those guys, but Zaven Collins, they didn't draft a pass rusher of note with respect to the kid out of Clemson that they took late. They didn't sign a free agent pass rusher. Ojulari is a starter. Dennis Gardeck's depth. They have the depth guys from the Chimera.
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge, huge vote of confidence for Zaven Collins. I can't ignore that. Had they gone out and signed a Jonathan Grenard or traded for a pass rusher or taken one in the top 75 picks, if the Tip Reiman pick had been a pass rusher, I'd be like, it's probably not a good omen for Zaven Collins. They really didn't do anything. They're doubling down on what they had last year.
Yeah, it's the status quo.
And if it's good enough, and I'm at this position right now with my relationship with Jonathan Gannon, if it's good enough for Gannon with his resume defensively, it's good enough for me until I see otherwise. Last year, I know the situation with the cap and what they had to do to strip that down. Zaven Collins this year is a full-time starter. I'm ready for it. Give it to me. I'm one last ride.
I mean, they'll always be political and say, hey, you got to rush, you got to cover, and you got to rush, right? But I think that the upgrades that they made on their roster through free agency and throughout the draft, there's a lot more confidence in both those rooms. Like the interior of the defensive line, you'd be hard pressed to find a position group that got maybe outside of the Cardinals wide receiver room that got better than that group did this offseason with the addition of Justin Jones and Nichols and then Darius Robinson. Are they is there that much confidence in that group and then the ability to cover to where the edge guys, the outside linebackers are going to be able, what we didn't see wasn't there because it was a product or they were victims of how poor their roster was last year at those position groups that I'm talking about that they improved.
Yeah, I think that it's fair to say that the defensive ends were hurt by the defensive tackles. Yeah. But I also feel like at the end of the day, if you've got juice at that position, like a Chandler Jones, you can manufacture sacks by yourself. And I think Ojulari has that ability. I think Zaven Collins might need to be schemed to get some pressures, but I also feel like he's an effort player, and you can't have enough of those guys. If Zaven Collins had not been the 16th overall pick, and he was a mid-rounder for this team, you would feel a lot better about what you're getting in terms of the return on investment. But you can't think like that anymore. It was a Kime pick at the time. It was not an overdraft. He was playing a different position. It's just you got to take it at face value. And the face value I'm taking it as there's no competition for Zaven, which tells me they think that he's going to produce. Yeah. So I'm fired up about that. I'm fired up about our interview with Jaden Davis, 7th round pick in that DB room, along with Sean Murphy-Bunting. Before we get to him, I do want to tell you about our friends at Circle K. It's America's thirst stop right now. It's hot as hell in Arizona. Just going to be frank with anybody. You coming to Arizona or otherwise, you're going to want to load up. Premium gas on a premium price and want to hydrate. Become a member of the Inner Circle right now at America's Thirst Stop. You can get any size Polar Pop or Froster for just 79 cents now through September 3rd at any Arizona location. So I'm talking, it's mid-June right now. Take advantage of this for 2.5 more months. That's nothing. You got $1 on you, you're saving 21 cents. It's fantastic. But of course it is. It's with our friends at Circle K. Not to mention 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. Save 3 cents per gallon every single day. I just love going places that I know that I'm going to save money each and every time I go, and that's Circle K. Find it under the app under Inner Circles-offers and join the Inner Circle today by downloading the Circle K app. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com, Bo, for more details.
I just saw our friends over at CHGO Bears. They're going to be coming out their road trip that they're going to be doing. Do you know where it is?
England
and Arizona. London. They're coming out to see the Cards take on the Bears.
I couldn't have been more wrong on that guess. I'm fired up.
Yes, they are going to go to the UK as well, but we're going to Miami. So they're doing theirs in Arizona. We'll welcome them. We'll try to be gracious hosts.
I guess. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we might try to ban Braggs from the state over there from CHGO
I
Bears.
think Braggs can't get enough of Arizona.
He
came down here, golfed a little bit, and
Yeah.
he's like, I love this place. I'll never leave him.
And you're going to fall in love with Miami because that's where we're going. True Fan Travel, truefantravel.com, going to set you up for the road game between the Arizona Cardinals and the Miami Dolphins. Huge showdown between the NFC West and the AFC East, between the Cards and the Fens. This trip includes round-trip travel to Miami, charter bus transfers, hotel stay at a popular Miami hotel, which is unbelievable. Great beach views. Also, you got the welcome event. You got a meet and greet with Cardinals alumni. You got an all-inclusive tailgate party, round-trip transportation to the game, and then tickets to the game. And then we mentioned that we're all hanging out together the entire time. You're going to get sick of us, but you're going to have the time of your life. Damon, Dawg, Britton Golden, Johnny, myself, GM, Saul Bookman. It's going to be an elite trip. It's going to be the best event we've ever done. You don't want to miss out on this.
New piece of information as of 5 minutes ago via Tom Pelissaro. We will be watching Calais Campbell take on the Arizona Cardinals in that game.
Going back to where he played college ball.
A Cardinal reunion of sorts.
Wow. So Calais Campbell signs with the Dolphins. 37, 38 years old. He's now going to be a member of the Miami defensive front.
One of the greatest draft picks in Cardinal history. Was drafted in the second round of 2008. It is now 2024. Guys,
Calais will be 38 at the time of the game.
It's a hell of a player, man. He's an on-time player, all-time human. Check us out on the road trip to Miami. Again, questions, contact us. We want to see you in Miami. I've had people DM me, Johnny, is this deal too good to be true? It is not. I'm telling you right now, it is far superior than any road trip that you're going to see with the Arizona Cardinals this season. And oh, by the way, it's in sunny South Florida. We will see you on the beach. Cardinals is thrilled to welcome 7th round pick of the Arizona Cardinals this year, Jaden Davis out of the University of Miami. The Hurricane joins Brack and Johnny Venerable, and you join what I believe, Jaden, as an up-and-coming defensive back group for AZ. What it's like to join Jonathan Gannon's mix of DBs?
Man, it's great. Just a great group of guys. We're predominantly young, and then we got the old heads with JT and Buddha. They come in here and they just, they set the standard for everybody.
Yeah.
You got G, you got Keytrail, you got all the guys that just were welcoming. As soon as I got drafted, I got DMs flooding my my Instagram. It was a lot, but just everything right now is all flowing. So I love it.
You mean in the most respectful way, the old heads, right? And it's crazy to think of Buddha told us he's going into season 8, and we got JT who's been in, I think, just a season after Buddha.
Yeah, 6 seasons. Yep.
Just an unbelievable wealth of knowledge, I'm sure. How were they as far as just your first experiences with those two guys?
I mean, they're very down to earth. When you get drafted, or even before you get drafted, when you're in college, you see the NFL. It's like, you never watch Space Jam? They have the big monsters. They grow up and they just
like the OG one.
Yeah, they just the big monsters. Like they're just like something that's just so unattainable, But then when you get around the guys and they know your name,
right?
That's just the first thing. Like, oh, you know my name for real. Like he's talking to me like I'm one of the players. So
Yeah,
okay.
you are.
Yeah, and you're on. It's like it's a little bit of a shock. Like at first, it's like okay. You get around them, you can ask questions, everything. Like we have really good veterans. Like we have a really good group of guys that I feel like everybody wants the same goal, which is to win a Super Bowl. So.
Yeah, this DB group is an interesting one. Jonathan Gannon's got a lot of positives as a head coach, but like we like to call him the DB kingmaker around here. What he did in Indianapolis, Minnesota, and of course in Philadelphia. What's it like having a head coach that was a defensive back himself?
Man, he's on you. Every coach I've had has had a group. And I've never had a DB coach as my head coach. And I definitely feel that pressure that I've had before, but with different teams and different groups, So he's on the guys. He's always watching the DBs, just coaching up technique and different specific, really detailed things. And I take everything what he's saying and I'm trying to add it to my game because he's had guys. He's had the Kenny Moore, the Avonte Maddox. Like he's had the guys that's played the nickel position or the safety position, corner. He's had guys that he's developed in a great way. You know what I'm saying? So I just take everything he has to say, and I'm just trying to add it to my toolbox.
Yeah, I mean, Garrett Williams was a first-year player last year, coming off injury, but he played primarily slot, and he looked really good in his first year, and I think he's poised for an even bigger and better year this upcoming season. But, another product of what JG and Rawls have done. I asked you, I think, in your introductory press conference, like how you thought you fit in, how this defense fit your skill set. And you were, overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah.
Now that you've practiced in this scheme, what are your thoughts now?
Man, it's amazing. Like, I've never played in a more DB friendly scheme. You know, you get to make so many plays. There's so many different things, so many different fronts and different tilts and things like that that we can be in that just makes life hard for the offense. Like, we're not sitting ducks.
Yeah.
You know, some defenses you can be a sitting duck and you just got to let the front work. We are able to more dictate and be able to change looks and everything like that, whether you're at corner, nickel, safety, dime, any of those situations, you're able to do anything. You know, we're very multiple. So I just love every part of his defense, and I couldn't have been drafted to a better team. So.
I know you just wrapped minicamp and you were around for rookie minicamp. Who stood out to you offensively that you had to go one-on-one against?
Man, one-on-one, like I said, we do so many things, so it's just like you wouldn't even know if we're one-on-one.
Yeah.
But, I love Marv. I would say Marv. I love Marv. Like, that's my guy, same draft class. And I watched him, I've always wanted to play against him. He's the top dog in our, like, college football before that. So watching him on tape, I'm like, I always wish I could play against him. Then when I got drafted, I'm like, let me see who else they drafted. Oh, they drafted Marv? I'm like, oh, yeah, I got to see him. But he's impressive, he's as advertised. Like, he does everything that they expect you to do. So he's definitely the one I feel like.
I mean, from that defensive player's standpoint and what you have to go up on a daily basis in practice. I mean, we talk about it all the time on this show. That opposing defenses are going to have to pick their poison. Mm-hmm. You got JC in the backfield who just went for 1,000 yards. You guys are geared up to run the football with a ton of blockers up front. You added Tip in the draft as well in your class. And then you got Marv, Michael Wilson, and Trey McBride, Greg Dortch coming at you.
Dortch, too. Dortch is like a glitch. Like, but he's definitely different, too. These are guys that, like, when I was growing up, like, they were in college. I think he went to Wake Forest.
Yep.
So watching him just, like, it's just different now. Like, you're in the league, and there's some guys that McBride, he was at Colorado State. I remember watching him. So, like, it's just different guys that add so many different skill sets to the team. It's just crazy how much we could do.
You mentioned watching Greg Dortch. You got to Oklahoma, what was it, right after Kyler Murray was drafted?
Yes.
So what was it like going into that program on the heels of K1, winning Heisman, going first overall?
Crazy. I mean, we were on did they win the Big 12 2 times in a row, I think, before that? And then when I got there, it was Jay Hurts. So then I get my locker and stuff, and then my locker's right next to Jay Hurts. So I'm like, oh, all right, how do I talk to him? Do I talk to him? Do I just act like I don't know like who he is? Like, no, I know exactly who he is, like what he's done. So like kind of introduced myself, and he was just more about like business. Like he was like, yo, like you here for a reason. Go take a spot. Like, okay, I'm gonna go take a spot, like just having that confidence in everything. And K1 would come around all the time, come around, talk to the guys and Bake and all them. They all come back. So Oklahoma's a big fraternity, much like Miami. So it was just cool.
Was there a lot of like folklore about Kyler Murray? Like, he did this. Like, this is what he did in the weight room, or this is what he did on the base. Like, anything you can share with us that was?
Yeah, it was just a lot. Like, he was just, K1 at first. Like, he grew a lot. He was more quiet at the beginning of his career, and then when he became that guy, it's just like you learn to different traits. You learn how to be a leader. You learn how to be more vocal and stuff like that. So that was just the main thing about him. Like at first, and they always talk about his development. Like Link would talk about how K1 developed so much and how he became a leader, especially to a guy like me. At first, I wasn't really more of a vocal leader. I was more of a guy that like led by example. Like I won't be the loudest one or anything like that, but kind of led by example, let my personality show to like all the younger guys that like, or even older guys that like, if you just do everything the right way, things will work out for you. And that's the type of guy I was. But you have to, as a leader, there's some guys that don't respond to things like that. Like some guys that need you to talk to them, And he would when Link would talk to me, he would just tell me stuff about that, like how Kyler had to change his leadership style a little bit based on the locker room that we had at that point. So when fast forward to when I was a sophomore starting, I still had to be that leader, and I had to change my leadership style and stuff like that. So
we asked your teammate Tayshawn when he was in here with us about the momentum that he feels with this team now. There's a big difference, I think, from last year where rookies played and they played early and often, and this year now rookies come in and it's a known commodity. Cardinals play a lot of young players. Like, do you feel like you have a responsibility? Like, hey, this is a franchise that's going to give me every opportunity to get on the field.
100%. That's part of the blessing. Talking to my agent, obviously you have teams like before the draft that you talk to and so you have Zooms with and stuff like that. And the Cardinals was definitely the top team. Like they play their guys, they give everybody equal opportunity. There's no set roles. Like you're able to go out there and show everything you want to do, you know? So it's just opportunities all over the place. If you're like JG says, if you're doing the right things and you're a master in your role, we'll find a spot for you and you're going to play. And, you know, that's what anybody could ask for. You know, you don't want to necessarily be on a Super Bowl team, but feel like when you get the ring, like you didn't really contribute to that. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been on teams before where in high school or like my freshman year, like we had Bosa and all them. I wasn't playing. I still got a ring, but that ring isn't the same as like my sophomore year when I was starting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's something that I feel like I'm taking pride in. Like there's no excuses. Nobody can say they didn't have an opportunity. Like we all have equal opportunities and we all have opportunities to show what we can do. And I love that about this team. So.
Couple of little fun facts about Jaden Davis that I learned from his introductory press conference. You need to show it off a little bit. The 444 chain you have.
Yeah.
It's the 444. It obviously holds meaning to you. Johnny, can you guess what Jaden ran in the 40?
A 444.
Yeah, that's crazy. That was crazy. I didn't think I was gonna run that. I thought it was like during training I was running faster. Then I ran like a 4.46. I'm like, I don't know what I was gonna run. Then when I finally got the final number, I was like, oh, that's good. That's a good time.
Picked a good day to have a good day.
Yeah. They're like, oh, that's a good time. But I wasn't thinking about it. My mom was like, Jaden, do you know what you just did? I was like, yeah, I ran fast. Like, that's what I'm supposed to do.
I just asked Tayshaun who was faster, he or a former Arizona Cardinal wide receiver. So you versus T-Palm in practice, I would be pretty good.
I'm faster than him. Leaving him.
Okay.
I'll leave it T-Palm. Now, okay. He got them long legs.
Yeah.
So if he running 100, he might be closer. He running a 40, I'm leaving him.
That's the problem Bo and I have. Is when people talk shit to me and I'm only 5'6.5", and he's you know, how tall are you?
It's 6'7", I think. No, 6'1".
6'1".
Yeah.
So we were at the combine 2 years ago. We were in the parking lot. They didn't let us in.
I don't even remember
drills.
this story. It's meaningless to me.
And they asked us our producer said, go run a 40, and my 40 was faster than Bo's.
Was it?
100%.
There was an official clock out there, so don't listen to that, Jaden. I want to advance the story, though. I mean, when we look back at the Desert Financial Credit Union transaction today, you were not only the 7th round pick, you were the 226th pick, which holds a lot of meaning to this organization, this state, the NFL world. Pat Tillman selected 226.
Yeah.
You said you immediately reached out to the Tillman Foundation. What's the latest on your relationship?
I actually met with Catherine Steele, the CEO of the foundation. So I met with her over Zoom. Great woman, you know. She's just talking about all the opportunities we have to share Pat's story, you know, because he was bigger than he was obviously an Arizona Cardinal and he was obviously Arizona State, but he was bigger than that, like what he did for this country, what he did for like the world and how he changed the world, you know what I'm saying? So it was just different opportunities, different things we could think about to help spread his message, help spread his story. And I love it. You know, it kind of aligns with like my values. Obviously his, like I said, it's on a much bigger scale. Like he had the ultimate sacrifice for this country. But like just me as a very family oriented person, like I feel like I can align greatly with his goals and how he was trying to do more for other people. So it was a great call, and I hope to do things with them in the future.
Yeah, the character is off the charts, Jaden, and it seems to be like we talk about it all the time on our show, the common denominator with these Jonathan Gannon, Monty Ossenfort teams. Like, do you feel like your personality fits with the guys in the locker room from just a high-level character standpoint? Because that's going to change locker room to locker room. Are the Cardinals prioritizing that, do you believe?
100%. I said it jokingly to my mom. It's like, they drafted the same guy 12 times. Like we all have the same, like, we're not necessarily the same. Like I'm from Florida, while Trey's from Mississippi, Marv from Philly, like T-Palm from, I don't know, Wisconsin somewhere. Like we all from different places, but it's like character-wise, I feel like we all align. Like we all love the work. Like D-Rob just said today, like, and we got to work. Like I don't like guys that don't work, but we don't have that problem right here. You know, even in college sometimes guys want to be great. Say they want to be great, don't want to put the work in. Like I feel like all the guys we drafted and even the undrafted guys, Miles Murphy, Joe, Zay Weaver, like same guys character-wise.
I feel like that was Sean Murphy Bunting or Justin Jones, guys they brought over through free agency. They were able to kind of figure that out, pinpoint, you know, those character positives. Also, I already knew Jaden Davis had tremendous character. We were talking about, are you going to get the new college football 2025? And he wasn't going to go to one of his almas. He wasn't going to say, I'm going to take Oklahoma to the ship. I'm not going to take the U to the ship. I'm going to build up, let's say a Ball State. That's the ultimate test of a character. If you're taking a team,
really?
if you're taking a team from the bottom of the NCAA and you're working them all the way to the top, that's the ultimate just proof that you were a big character guy.
With guys that look like me on the roster. That's right. You
gotta build a pipeline.
That's right.
I'm going Florida first.
That's right. Speaking of pipeline, I think you're the first Cardinal DB drafted from Miami since Antrell Roll. I'm pretty sure that's true. So you are in good company, my friend. We appreciate the time today. Jaden Davis, 7th round pick of the Arizona Cardinals. Can't wait to watch you in action this fall, my guy.
I appreciate y'all.
Great stuff from Jaden Davis, 7th round pick of the Arizona Cardinals. Super likable. The quote that stands out to me, we drafted the same 12 guys over and over and over again. If that doesn't tell you the kind of player and more importantly, the person that this team is prioritizing, I don't know what does.
Yeah, the last 2 years, you got that, times 2. Sure, they didn't have a 12-guy draft class, but they had 13 first-year players the previous season. You got 25 guys.
Half your roster now.
Yep. And then free agents that they vetted that fit what they're trying to do, fit the culture. And now that's upwards of 30. And then the guys that they decided, deemed worthy to move forward with the previous regime.
You make a good point, Johnny, with like when they came in here, they were just chilling, hanging out. Like they're just very personable guys. They wanted to talk to everybody in the office. Like it wasn't like a typical athlete that just is kind of going to get in, sit there, keep to himself. Like they wanted to have conversations, and you're not wrong. Like the personality side of it seems like a huge factor in why they're drafting these people.
And it continued today. Like when we were at the United Food Bank, like they got in there, they were excited, they made a competition out of it, but like the vibes in there, like you couldn't match that. And I mean, for the most part, it's community service, and they're out there and they're doing their part. Nobody's complaining. Everybody's having a good time. And it just matches the character that we've seen walk through the door, the facility in Tempe, and now the stadium in Glendale. And it's just it's a higher level dude playing for the Cardinals these days.
Speaking of high level, he was talking about going up against Marv in practice. That's a high bar for any defensive back, whether you're a 7th round pick or a veteran. And speaking of Marv, we got some pictures, I believe, from the Arizona Cardinals. I threw these up on Twitter earlier today. Are those the freshest pictures you've ever seen in your life? Like these go incredibly hard, especially that first one. That's a wild picture. If you were to show those to us this time last year, I mean, we'd be sitting here saying, is this real life?
Right. That's unbelievable. It makes, I think everybody's a big fan of the white road uniforms, but man, does this make the red home uniform just pop. It looks good on number 18 is going to look good in anything, but aren't you just glad the days of a horrendous uniform are way behind this organization?
Like I looked at that today, I'm like, that's a great looking jersey. And it pained me because people in the comments are like, you got to update the pants. You got to do this. Okay, whatever. The jersey itself, 10 out of 10. I mean, like you put that up against his Ohio State jersey, it's almost a seamless transition. Fantastic. I love that. And that's a perfect segue. He's got his number 18 collection. We have our own number 18 collection here at PHNX Sports. Shop now. I believe it's shipping ASAP. You can get the 18 collection right now. The Maserati Marv t-shirts, of course, the touchdown celebratory dance, and then, of course, the 1+18 equals 6. Shop it now. Become a diehard like we mentioned earlier in the show. Get any of these t-shirts for free. The first t-shirt you get with PHNX, make it a PHNX Cardinals t-shirt. I can't wait, Bo. Shipping is imminent. Repping this gear when we're in South Beach this fall. You can't pick up an 18 jersey yet, but you can pick up the 18 collection here with PHNX Sports.
That's right. You could even make it your free shirt choice of the year if you become a diehard today. Join the GoPHNX.com exclusive diehard. You get that entrance to the Discord that is exclusive to just diehards. That way you can keep up with the 999 challenge. The chat continues. It doesn't just end or start and end with the show or on Twitter. It's ongoing, always in the Discord. So that in itself, plus you can get, the MHJ shirt, you get the Maserati Marv shirt, you can get the 1+18=6 shirt for free. Then we mentioned that pays for half of the membership. So don't waste any more time today. Become a diehard at gophnx.com and get in on the 18 collection.
Like this video, subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. Big thanks, everybody in the chat. We had some fun today, didn't we? Jaden Davis, 7th round pick. Can't wait to watch him this fall in action at training camp. And, of course, shop the number 18 collection. We're back mañana on a Football Friday. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your podcasts. For Bo, Brack, Damon, Dawg, I'm Johnny Venerable. We'll see you on a Friday. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.